Today on my RC life, I installed the Game Changer chassis kit from M2C Racing along with the Go Big or Go Home chassis brace and front and rear shock tower kit, also from M2C Racing. So let's get started making this Tekno into a top-notch basher. What's going on, everybody? Chasis Mike from my RC life. Trying out a little bit different camera today. Been having issues with the GoPro Hero 7. Losing footage and this and that, and I can't stand it. So we're going to see if this looks a little bit better for you guys. It's got a little bit better zoom if you want to be zooming in on things and whatnot. So, alright, today, dun, da, 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 we got... Oh yeah, baby! Got the old wide body kit here. Okay, if you guys have never seen the difference, it's quite substantial. So, my sponsor, thank you very much, you know who you are, had this stuff laying around. He ordered this back when things were out of stock, and I don't think they offered this in a kit. You had to order it all separately. So anyways, they're offering a kit now, but this is just what he had on hand. We got the wide chassis, we got the Game Changer Mega Brace, center brace, we got the wide ESC mount. I'm guessing that's the part number 6821. Got that. And then the only other thing that comes with the kit is the special servo mount. And he did not order that at the time, but I already got that coming. I ordered it 5 minutes ago. It should be here in a few days. But I'm waiting for my servo horn, because you gotta have a special longer servo horn as well. I'm waiting for that also. So it ain't like that's the only thing holding me up. The servo horn is holding me up as well. Extra things that he had ordered and sent to me. We got this rear horizontal brace. This guy here, 6973 on that part number. Then we have the front shock tower. Got that guy. V3 tower, 6971. There's what that looks like. Beefy parts. Nice and thick. The short rear center brace, 6755. And there's what that looks like. And then the Go Big or Go Home rear shock tower upgrade. And it does come with its own drill. And it says, drill through shock tower for 2 3x16 socket head cap screws. Do not over tighten the 4mm lock nuts. And now we're going to start assembling this. You can see that from that's where we're at on the build. It's basically all assembled. If we threw an ESC in this and a battery, it could actually run. But I have no place to mount the ESC, and that's why we're sitting where we're at. Instead of having this big bad boy in there, the Max 5, dun da da da, I got the Max 6 in the mail finally. So yeah, we're going to be putting this in here. It's got quite a bit smaller footprint than the Max 5 does. And this directly mounts a Max 6. Alright, we're going to go back to the GoPro and flip on the time lapse. Okay, so I'm getting started, and I do a lot of back and forth, taking things on, putting things together, and taking them back apart, because I don't know exactly where all the correct bolts go, and things of that nature. So first of all, taking the mud guards off from the stock chassis. Pulling all the bolts out of the battery tray, side of the mud guard, got all that off. Pulling the rear end apart. Pulling off that stock rear brace, putting the M2C brace on. Now I'm putting on the M2C shock standoffs. They are quite a bit heftier than the stock ones. You can see the stock one is still left in the shocks there. And I'm going to be assembling the M2C ones. See, they're a lot beefier. Got both of those in the shocks now. Loctite on those big long set screw threaded rod pieces of material, I guess you would call them. They're like big long set screws kind of. Then I am bolting on the part that connects the shock tower to this center brace, and then the center brace bolts to the center diff as well later on. What's really cool is I thought you had to get rid of the actual stock shock tower. You actually bolt the M2C one up against the stock one, so you're like doubling the thickness. I gotta drill these holes for a couple socket head cap screws, and it pulls the stock shock tower and the aftermarket one together, and it holds them tight, nice and firm. Installing the shocks on their new standoffs. Everything looks so much nicer. Looking on my phone, because I don't know exactly what I'm doing. It does not come with instructions. Putting them bolts there that pull everything together, where I had to drill the holes. Sandwiches everything nice and tight there. Looking on the M2C website again, as you can tell, if you can see this screen of my phone. Okay. Getting the rear end bolted onto the Game Changer chassis. I'm kind of putting this brace, holding it this way and that way, trying to figure out which way it goes. You can't really see it in the video, but that's what's happening. These screws are really tight. I had to use the torch, get the Loctite to heat up. That's the center diff and the motor mount. I had to see exactly how this went. I had to pull the old chassis up and sit it on there just to refresh my memory. I put the little tiny dry shaft in, and I'm bolting this all together, and it's really nice because that bolts the shock tower, that brace, and the diff all together nice and rigid, and then you're going to put this center brace in there, and it's going to bolt the diff as well. This is supposed to help from any chassis flexing or bending at all. I mean, anything can be bent if you ran it over with a car, but this thing should be just about bulletproof for bashing. Okay, so one bad thing about this not coming with instructions and stuff is I don't know if I'm missing bolts and whatever. But this here is supposed to bolt down through here. Now, when I start to screw this down, you can see the head the head of this bolt wants to hit on this brace. Now, I don't know if there should be a socket head cap screw rather than a button head screw in place of this. Or maybe I just didn't get the socket head cap screw. I'm not sure. So sometimes you gotta improvise. What I'm gonna end up doing is grabbing it really soft with some vice grips and then round the head off. Alright, one more test fit. There, now it looks really good. It's all just common sense, people. Alright, back to the time-lapse bolting down this center brace. I realize I made some mistakes with some bolts. I had to pull them out of the rear end and put them in the center chassis. Now I'm trying to pull the front end off from the old chassis and I'm having problems. I cannot get this last bolt out. It is a pain in my butt. So I bring up the big dog. It'll come out now, right guys? Wrong. I got this so hot it started melting the stock plastic front center brace. So I ended up having to drill out the screw, which I did not want to do because I knew I wouldn't be able to get the screw out of the steering post, which obviously I couldn't. Alright, we're getting it back together anyhow. Getting that front end bolted on. And you notice I forgot to put the drive shaft in. The long front drive shaft. I'm putting it all together. Don't even realize it yet. Okay, I'm starting on the front shock tower. Taking it all apart. And we're going to put the M2C standoffs on there. There we go, I'm assembling them right now. I'm putting the standoffs on there, bolting the shock to the standoff. I'm bolting the standoff to the shock tower. I realized that I forgot the drive shaft. Now I take the front end all back apart and get that drive shaft in there. Then reassemble the front end. Okay, look at the difference of the chassis size. Now I have to drill holes to the front shock towers as well to bolt the new shock tower and the old shock tower together, sandwich them together real nice and tight. Putting the motor mount and things on, tightening up all the screws because I didn't have them tightened right down. And leave them a little loose until you get almost everything assembled. I'm noticing something's wrong here. Oh yeah, I forgot, you got to cut this chunk of battery tray off. There we go, we got that cut off. File it nice and smooth. Yeah, bolt that back down. Got the other side mudguard deal on here. There we go. Now this is the Max 6 rear motor mount. Getting that all put on. Getting the double-sided tape onto the on and off switch. I set that right on that center brace. I had to turn the servo mounting hardware around. I'm just hooking it all up. Setting that motor in there. Alright, I went and soldered the wires in the other room. Plugging in the servo and the ESC. I'm testing things out. Setting the motor mesh, moving the pinion to where it lines up perfectly. Don't forget the Loctite there. And then I noticed the end bell on the motor wasn't tight. I forgot when I had to drill these mounting motor mount holes out, we didn't tighten them all the way down because I didn't have Loctite over at my brother-in-law's house. I was going to do it when I got home. So, alright, I'm getting this all reassembled here. And then the screws for the motor mounts, actually bolt it, tighten it down where you got your mesh for your spur and your pinion. They were too long, so I had to shorten these up, and then I cut one and it drops in my pants and burns through my pants. I had to drop my pants down and get in my skivvies and pull out a chunk of burnt bolt out of my pants. Alright, bottom motor mount bolt there, mounting up a battery. Alright guys, I had a little bit of trouble with this and that and the other, and I am still waiting for parts. I flipped this stock servo mounting bracket around, and it does get me steering. I ordered the M2C one, it is coming, and I broke a bolt off, as you'll see in the time lapse for there. So I got a new steering post that goes down through the steering rack. I'm just going to replace that whole thing, and that gets me that bolt in there. But this one is holding it tight for now. I'm not going to bash it or anything right now, obviously. I'm just going to see if it runs. I need to do a little bit of tidying up on the wiring, and I need to get the body done, and the servo deal on here. And I think that'd probably be about it. But let's go ahead and power her up. Got the old Fly Sky Noble. Welcome to Noble. Welcome. Okay. Oh, it moves. All right. Alright guys, so we upped the BEC voltage, and it even senses the jiggle. That's a fast servo. I like that servo. And I turned up the brake force and a few other things. Yeah, this is going to be one bad mamma jamma. All right, guys, stay tuned for part 5 when we wrap this baby all up. I'm Chasis Mike from My RC Life, and I'll see you later. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment or suggestion below.